Hey, how you doing, Scorpio? I already pulled a card out, and the earlier video kind of stopped recording for me. But what I got for you, Nine of Cups, first card out. This is you feeling good. You're kind of like, you're feeling emotionally okay. You feel like you got everything that you need. It can be a card a little bit of self-indulgent, like maybe you're out drinking a lot, having a lot of fun, but it's, if not, but like even could be something like a lot of options as well, but you're kind of feeling yourself right now, and I mean, that's a good card to have. What's the situation that you got going on right now? The situation crossing you for Scorpio. Situation for Scorpio. Okay. Ooh, something ended. The Falling Tower. Okay, Mars energy. Something quick and sudden ending. Maybe something you didn't expect. It could be an end of a job or relationship. But it's just something that came out of nowhere. Possibly it was a relationship. You see these two people falling out of that tower. But it's definitely something quick, like unexpected. Because with Mars energy, it's fast, it's violent, it's all consuming. It doesn't have to be violent, but it was definitely quick and unexpected. Something that just came out of nowhere, an ending, something you didn't expect. What is your foundation? The cause of your situation. Are you feeling like you're in your head? Anxiety, stress, having trouble sleeping, having a lot of fears and anxieties, and it could be trouble sleeping. Are you having trouble sleeping, Scorpio? It seems like your foundation was like you were worrying a lot. You were really anxiety ridden, like you had a lot of things that were going out of your head that you felt like you couldn't really resolve, but it definitely kept you awake. All of these fears and anxieties. Almost like the world was coming down on you for the past. What was behind you? What happened in the past? Queen of Clubs. Possibly a fire sign. Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo. But in the past, it's the Queen of Clubs, someone that can be quite psychic, somebody that can be quick-tempered, quick-tongued, somebody that actually makes things happen. It could be someone who does, practice the occult and such, but it was someone really fiery. Fiery situation, maybe you had a lot of passion for this past somebody. What was this? Knight of Coins. Your goals, you want to give an offer to this Queen of Clubs, this fire sign that you got in past of you. You want to give a tangible offer, something that you could touch and hold like a gift. And you're coming in to you want to go in and physically and give that. I mean, pages are more like messages. This is action, and you're bringing something tangible. This Knight of Coins, like, they're the slowest knight in the deck. They're hella slow. But, they're slow because they're methodical. They think about, if they want to invest in something before they do. So, out of all of the knights, they are the most, they are the most dependable, but, they're a knight all the same, right? But it's an action. It's an action card. You want to go and give her an offer, a tangible offer, maybe a gift. 6, your future. What's right before you? What's right before you? Okay. whatever gift that you want to put out, you know this is going to come with a lot of struggle. You've had a quick and sudden ending in your current situation. I don't know if it was with this Queen of Clubs in the most recent past, but I guess it definitely was. This recent past with this Queen of Clubs, you had a quick and sudden ending, and you want to go back and you want to give an offer, a tangible offer, a gift. This is something that's been keeping you up at night, something that's been you've been worrying about, like it's been like on your mind constantly to the point where you feel like you have to, you know. This is kind of like spirit coming in and making you think about a person continuously, because maybe you do have a lot more karma that you have to play out for this person, you know, and it won't let you just let that go until you feel like something's unfinished and you want to come in and give that offer. Or maybe it could be an explanation if it's not just a gift, you know. But I think this Queen of Clubs might be pissed at you, and you foresee kind of like a conflict. You foresee conflict up ahead of you. How do you see yourself in this situation, Scorpio? How do you see yourself in this situation? Interesting. Nine of Clubs, you're defensive. It fell on the floor. I'll take it. You're feeling defensive. You feel like you have to guard yourself. You feel wounded from this past situation. And you feel like you need to guard yourself. Why are you defensive, though? What's your environment? Your home and your surroundings. What's your environment like, Scorpio? Tell me your environment around you. Queen of Swords. You got a Queen of Swords in your environment. Can be an air sign. Two queens. Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini. But you got two pissed off women around you, or two, maybe it could be a mother, a sister, a lover, you know, but it's someone who can be quite logical, somebody who's very observant. This is somebody who's been hurt before. There can be depicted as a widower, a divorcee, and, you know, people would say she's bitter, but I don't see her as bitter. You know, she's observant, she's smart, and she's logical because, you know, she's experienced, and she, you know, like, she doesn't just take things at face value because she is experienced. And I don't see her as like a bitter lady. I just see her as smart from experience. But she can be cutting. She can be verbally cutting. She can be sharp on the tongue, you know, and she cuts out people, places, and things around her. So maybe there is a breakup and maybe she cut you out. You know, because maybe there is this Queen of Clubs here in your past, this fire sign, and Queen of Clubs at that third person. You know, it could be a third person, a third party situation. Do you have a love outside of your current relationship, Scorpio? And it seems like this observant Queen of Swords here, she found something by being observant, being logical. She knows what's good for her. She saw something because they're perceptive. And it made her cut you out. Fast and sudden ending. And maybe it was unexpected because she found something that you didn't expect her to. Maybe this past situation. How you see yourself now, you're defensive. You're the wounded warrior. You got hurt multiple times by this situation. You definitely weren't happy because, you know, you had other situations outside of this relationship. And maybe you kind of leapt into a new one without getting the energy off the last one. without being fully healed, and it was something that you couldn't let go of. You know, this is Mercury retrograde. Usually when there's been unjust situations or situations that hasn't quite cleared out. Isn't Mercury retrograde? I have to look. It freaking feels like it. But, I mean, sometimes if you got that leftover energy, you got to play something out. That karma still needs to be played. It'll do that. It'll play in your head like that brain bug. That'll just play it over and over and over again until it drives you crazy and you feel like you have to go back. Because maybe you were dealing with another situation that didn't really fulfill you, but you kind of like were trying to keep everything in place. I keep on getting this. Your hopes is your hopes and fears. That 2 of coins in reverse. So you don't want to juggle with the situation anymore. It seems like you were pouring your energy into a lot of multiple different places, you know. And maybe 2 jobs, maybe 2 friends that are fighting, maybe sisters, maybe a relationship. But it seems like you try to maintain everything and try to be everything for everyone. And it doesn't even have to be like relationship wise, as in like romantic relationship wise, but also just regular friends wise as well. That I see somebody who does try to be everything for everyone, somebody that kind of like an overdoer, and he kind of, when you try to be everything to everyone, you know, instead of getting the result of having everybody, you have people that don't invest with you all that much, and you don't invest that much into other people, any one particular person, enough to maintain a real relationship. You know, sometimes you can't be everybody's friends and do everything for everybody, because there's gonna be parts of your life that's definitely not being taken care of to the fullest. You know, maybe this could have been 2 friends, like this could have been a friends group that all I know, or like a family situation, or even an employment situation. Like maybe you were like the one in the middle trying to like appease everything and everyone, and maybe you were that mutual link between the issue. I don't know. Maybe it was just trying for you to juggle everything and everyone. You're trying to please everybody, and it left you feeling, you know, burnt out and anxiety ridden, and you know, that people pleasing comes in possibly, and maybe you got cut out because of it, because, you know, some people, they don't want to be your 1 out of 10 people. They want to be your one person, if it's a relationship or kid wise, or, you know, maybe it's them expecting too much. Maybe it's you wanting to please everyone around you. But your hopes and fears is that, you know, you want to stop juggling. It became all too burdensome. And that's the part that, like, your first part of that awakening is that you stop trying to please everybody around you and you start reflecting on what you really want. Or this could be somebody that just can't be alone. And maybe you have to look at yourself into why that is. Because maybe you find yourself unhappy in whatever relationship situation that it is, and it makes you really second guess if that's the right thing. And maybe something else is a better fit. Let me tell you, Scorpio, though, like, you, whatever recent ending that you had happen to you, instead of making you feel awful, you actually feel okay with it, though. Maybe this was something that should have ended a long time ago that you're just trying to maintain. Maybe you're just trying to be too nice. Maybe a little lying by omission kind of thing. Or like you weren't really into someone or something, but it was there for the time being. And maybe somebody around you sensed that. The outcome here is that Seven of Swords in reverse. So you left a situation maybe in a quiet manner, maybe in the not so honest manner last time, not so open manner. Maybe you ghosted somebody in the past, or you kind of ghosted them until, like, I don't know, like psychically, even when you're around them, you know, just kind of checked out and got them to break up with you because you wanted out of the situation. But now you want to come back. This is like returning to the scene of the crime. You want to come back. And that's the outcome. And you have plans to come back. This is an action card. This Knight of Coins here. And you don't want to be juggling anymore. That's your hopes and fears. You don't want to juggle anymore. You see the truth. And that's why you're being a lot more defensive with people around you and what you really want. Because maybe you ignored what you really wanted. Maybe you thought you had a lot more options than you did. And maybe those options are all of them ended. I don't know. Maybe you thought you had a lot more options than you actually did. Let's see. I don't know. Now, what's this falling tower? What is this falling tower? This is competition. This is pettiness. This is arguing. This is gossip. It could have been a family-friend situation. It could have been a workplace, but there is a lot of conflict. Always competition. Jocking each other. I mean, like, but there's an end to that. There's an end. It could have been an end to, like, you know, like a job situation. Maybe you worked with a partner. And it brought a lot of conflict, or maybe you were seeing somebody at work and it brought a lot of conflict, and people, you know, and then there was an ending, there was fighting, people chose sides, and maybe it didn't end up a good outcome for your employment or your home situation that you had, or some kind of foundation. Could have been a home situation, just a home situation, like a wife. Possibly even a friend situation, but what's this Five of Wands? What's this Five of Wands? What's this Five of Wands? But there's definitely been a lot of gossiping. There's a lot of shit talking. Ooh, a lot of arguing. A lot of insults, people being petty. There was a lot of control. There was a lot of, you know, lies. There was a lot of, like, people. There was something extremely toxic. It could have been a toxic workplace. It could have been a toxic relationship, but it's done now. You know, that either the Queen of Swords cut you out, or you cut out that Queen of Swords. And, you know, it was an end to something that was really toxic. And it was something that drained you. And it was something that, like, it bothered you for a really long time. So, an ending and a transformation. You put a fork in it, it's done, and you're all the better for it. You already feel better because you knew it was toxic, and that's why you have that Nine of Cups. Like, you feel relieved. It was so much conflict, like you feel relieved dropping it. It was like a burden, like you dropped 50 pounds overnight, and you know, and it kept you up, it kept you burdened. I didn't ask that question. Oh. Okay. So you could have Aquarius in your chart, or maybe this Queen of Clubs. There was somebody in your past. It could have been a friend, sister, co-worker, romantic interest in your past. Like, you felt like this person brought a lot of healing. You want a lot of healing with this person. You know, and maybe it was your wish, something that you wanted for a really long time. Like, you had maybe there was some extenuating circumstances that drove you guys apart. Maybe your family didn't like this person, or, you know, the current person that you were with, or the one before that. What's this star? So you feel like this past Queen of Clubs that you left before, you want healing with this person. You want to be victorious with this person, but perhaps maybe you feel like this Queen of Clubs has moved on. Now, gender doesn't matter, right? It's just the energy. But maybe this fire sign, this in the past, maybe you feel like after you left, you thought that they would make more of an effort to reach out to you. But now you see this fire sign kind of like taking her power back, and you see her victorious and healed, and maybe you feel like this fire sign doesn't want anything to do with you. And you just got out of the most recent situation because this person felt it. This person, this air sign, they felt it. They felt your non-presence. What's this King of Coins? What's this King of Coins? The Empress. You want to give an offer. You see the Queen of Wands as an Empress. You see them as someone who's nurturing. This is the mother of the tarot. Someone who births things into existence. Someone who creates things. You know, they have all of the best descriptions of all of the queens and all of their best, like, all rolled into one. This is someone who has everything, and you feel like she's everything, and you want to give this person an offer. What's this Ten of Clubs up ahead of you? Now, Four of Wands in reverse. This is an end to a prior foundation. You had have found somewhat of a foundation with this fire sign. I mean, it seems like it used to be. But there was an ending because there was a lot of conflict in this. Maybe the fire sign felt that, and maybe you felt like unsettled at that time. Maybe there's a situation where even though you wanted it, you had a lot of passion for it, you see them as the Empress, you felt like there was something that blocked you from actually building with them. And it caused a lot of conflict because there was no stability in the foundation. There was nothing that was going to take roots. Maybe this was something that was more for fun. And then you thought you could just move on and it wouldn't be an issue, but it turned out to be more of an issue because you couldn't get them out of your head. Maybe there is no stability in the situation. There was a lot of conflict in the situation. And maybe you saw this Queen of Clubs person kind of like as a burden. Maybe that you've seen them as they didn't have their shit together. Maybe they could have been unemployed at the time and have a lot of responsibilities and burdens. And maybe you saw them as someone amazing, but you didn't want their responsibility. And, you know, you had a lot of options at that time, you know. So maybe you felt like it wasn't that big of a deal, like it wouldn't have bothered you, but then you left and then it stuck with you. And maybe because you felt like that this fire sign didn't have this shit together, and you saw that you didn't want to build with this person because they seemed like they were a burden. And you thought that maybe that they would chase you more because you thought that they were down and out at the time. Page of Wands. Because you felt like you were trying to get your stuff together. Maybe. But you want to come and you want to offer something. You want to offer something tangible this time. And you know that you're in for a battle because there was a shakeup in the past and you kind of ghosted this person, and you know that there is a conflict, and that was why you juggled. You juggled with sending a message because you knew that it would bring on a lot of conflict, because maybe you left in a kind of way that wasn't all that fair, kind of like that fade out. You called a little less. You were a little less involved. You listened a little less each time, and to the point where, like, they had to. It's like that when you lose interest, but, like, you know, that situation where you lose interest, but you don't want to be the first one to say it or break up, and you kind of are there but not present until they do it first. Because maybe you had a lot of options before and you didn't want to invest because you felt like it was a burden. But then you expected this past fire sign to come and chase you. Perhaps this past fire sign didn't. And you thought they wouldn't be able to be okay without you, and that's what scared you, and that's why you left. And you thought that they would be the first to reach out, but they never did. And maybe that's what's bothering you. And maybe that's why you're defensive. Have you ever thought that that's maybe why you can't get this person off of your head? Nine of Clubs. Now, how you see yourself. Queen of Cups. This is someone who can be very psychic, someone who can be emotional. This is someone who can be empathic and loving and caring. She feels feelings, but it's maybe someone who can be like someone who is more receiving of love. And maybe throughout this whole situation, you received a lot more love than you gave. But now you see yourself, maybe you learned, maybe after this time apart and dealing with this other situation because you were single, and you were alone and you wanted to keep yourself busy. But the thing is, you kind of went into a situation and you didn't really have a lot of feelings for it, and you were kind of trying to keep yourself busy because there was something that was blocking you from this fire sign. And maybe 2 people got hurt because of it. Maybe even 3. Maybe you got yourself in a really big mess because you were alone and hurt because there was something that kept you apart or broken up, or you had to leave from a situation and you felt like this person in the past because you left them, and even if you wanted them, wouldn't want you back. And you try to soothe your pain with company, and this person knew. Oh my goodness. Emperor. You could be definitely dealing with an Aries. But maybe you could have Aries in your chart. Maybe how you see yourself now. Maybe you're still in the situation that you're in with this air sign. Maybe you did have a foundation in your past, but the foundation is definitely over now, and you definitely feel less stressed for it. Maybe the person that you were with, like the fire sign in your past, maybe she offered you love before and she wanted that 10 of Cups, and maybe you wanted it at the wrong times because you didn't want it when she wanted it. And then something broke you apart because of it, or possibly because of options. You deal with another situation. You didn't want that one. Now you want the fire sign. Now you think that the fire sign doesn't want you because you left for somebody else. What's this Queen of Swords? Maybe you try to see like a future. Maybe you're trying to build a future with a situation. Maybe, maybe you even did have a good, like a pretty solid future with this air sign as well. But one person was trying to control the situation and the other person was being defensive. And it was bringing a lot of conflict, so you want fulfillment within your own life first, and that's why you're being defensive. You want to give something to this Aries. You want an emotional foundation. But there was an ending, and now you're defensive on reaching out because you're afraid that they don't want to talk to you. This is Queen of Swords. 3 of Cups in reverse is a third party. So this Queen of Swords found out about this third party, and it ended a foundation that you had. Maybe now you feel relieved that you don't have to juggle. Maybe it was something that you felt for a long time, but you didn't want to be the one to say it. Maybe you said it for a long time, but then somebody didn't want to let you go. they were still fighting and hanging on to it, and maybe you were, and it became toxic. But now that it ended, because, you know, Scorpios, I'm a Scorpio rising, they can be really at all costs kind of people, all or nothing kind of people. You give and you give until you don't, and then when it's all, it's all, but when it's nothing, you know? Maybe you were too hasty in leaving things behind before really reflecting on what happened with the last. I mean, maybe this fire sign thing could have even have been done, but it was something found out about it. Maybe it was found out. Maybe there was a trip that you went on. Maybe there was like a business trip or a vacation that you went on, and you had like an encounter with somebody there, maybe somebody you knew before. And then it was found out. But you felt like it was a burden to keep as a secret. The secret was a burden because it was bothering you. And you felt like you tried to keep it all together and keep them all engaged together, but it seems like, you know, you ended up losing everything. There's the Seven of Swords. You're coming back, returning to the you're returning. The outcome is you want to return to the scene of the crime. You know this person's going to be defensive because they felt like you abandoned them before. And you foresee them, you know, being like not wanting to deal with that, but you want to have some strength at the situation. But are you carrying a lot of baggage with you? Or are you a little more hopeful of the situation? That it would be a non-issue when you're ready to come back. Because maybe when you're trying to maintain everything and all things, it was like it was too much of a burden and things just kind of dropped off on the wayside. And now that things are totally quiet, now you're wondering, hey, what's this fire sign been doing? But the outcome is it doesn't look very good if you go back towards this person. You know, because I think this fire sign in your past, like, you know, they're healed. Like, they're good on their own, you know. It's someone who's kind of like, I don't know, they seem pretty good on their own. This could even be you, to be honest. Like, I mean, you're feeling yourself, you're feeling good after this ending happened. And let's see, the moon. But perhaps even though you're not quite done with it, maybe this is something that you don't foresee lasting either, but you definitely want to reach out and speak to this person, because maybe they did have a lot of insights. Maybe you were friends for a really long time, and even though the romantic situation is something that can't be maintained because of situational wise, like you feel like you miss this person. You know, they could have been really insightful, possibly. Maybe they helped you realize some things that you haven't seen before. kind of learned a little about yourself after these experiences. And although it makes you hopeful about the future and about the future situations, it's important not to kind of like see all the outcomes that could happen. But I'll give you some advice, Scorpio. What's your advice? What's your advice from the universe? So help Scorpio to their highest good. Advice. There's an oracle though, so let me come up. Oh, you know what? These were upside down. Holy crap. So, you want a new life. You want to go back to the situation, like maybe a place where you grew up, maybe a place where you spent a lot of time with, and you want a new life, and you want to feel like you want to go back home. Maybe you want to move back home. Maybe you want to move back to somewhere that you kind of grew up, or you had a period of living where you grew up. Maybe it's just not really being happy with your prior situation, and it could be anything, relationship, work, family life, but it seems like it just wasn't working, it wasn't fulfilling you, and you felt stuck to get out of it. You want a new life, and you want to make a move. You want to feel okay with yourself and your home life and your situation again. Because maybe in the past there was a lack of fairness, and maybe now you want to be fair. But this is a karmic situation. It's karmic. It's look at the patterns that you've seen in your life and relationships. Does this mirror anything that you've had in your past? Does this mirror prior situations or environments? Like, did you jump out of one situation to another thinking that it will fulfill you, and finding out later that it doesn't? And maybe just having a new situation isn't exactly a good situation. And maybe it's that all or nothing kind of attitude, like it's like you will devote yourself, and you'll like even give your life to somebody until you find out something that you feel like could be an ultimate betrayal, or a betrayal in general, or something triggers you and you end it soon. You bail out because you see like a sign of like betrayal, and you abandon before they abandon you. But now it's time for you to have a new life, which is, maybe it's your new perspective that you have to look at things. Maybe it's trying to find fulfillment in other people. Maybe it's you realizing that in order for you to get a new and fulfilling life, that you have to be okay with you first. Where is your home? It's not the place just where you sleep. It's the place within. It's feeling home within yourself. It's building your own foundation from where you are, from the ground up, and not trying to find a situation that seems a perfect situation and run towards it, and like just going for a new relationship or job thinking it'll turn out better without you trying to work out what you have now. And that's what leaves you feeling unresolved ultimately in the situation that you find yourself currently in or not in. And now it's just trying to be fair to, sometimes our environment kind of and our relationship mirrors the turmoil that we have inside. Like maybe you feel unsettled. Maybe it's home situations that make you feel unsettled, and maybe it's kind of like waiting for the shoe to drop every second of the day, and it kind of robs you of your happiness, and it makes you see a lot more threat towards everything and everyone in your environment than there really is. And maybe you've been kind of harsh in your judgments in your past and how people are, and kind of like, had preconceived notions on other people, and you labeled every other people on who they are without really getting to know them or yourself. Because sometimes when you're still searching for answers yourself and you don't really know yourself, people around you feel it, and they will mark it as a disinterest because you're constantly trying to figure things out. So it could be constant rumination that kind of plays out the same cycle over and over again. Because the outside environment mirrors the turmoil within. And it could be like that chronic lack of safety that you feel within. But now it's time for you to be okay within yourself. Because if you were okay with yourself and within, and you didn't demonize aspects of yourself or people, and seeing everything as black and white, like they're the victimizer and I'm the victim, then you could be more balanced within yourself and within your choices and with your emotions. And you could have a better cycle towards your relationships and the environment around you. Well, that's what I got, Scorpio. I don't even know if any of that was helpful, but if you appreciate that, like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to donate on the link below, and I will see you next time. Bye.